Oh, just say scrap.
Oh, just say scrap.
As something new.
As something new.
It's Make It Mondays just for you. So come and see what we are creating. Make It Mondays just for you.
Alright, so we are bringing another Make It Monday at you with the Say It in Style National Stamping Month cards. So this one is called You Go Girl. As you see here, we're just putting some of these cards together before we started stenciling. And we are now taking our masking tape and just putting that down onto our all-purpose mat. We have our Mocha ink today, and we just use that to put some of those stripes onto our card base, and once again just using that Mocha. So this one, as you see right now, is monochromatic, and then I just kind of rotated that piece of cardstock and put them on, so I didn't have to actually wipe off my stamp for this one, or my stencil for this one. I was able to use the exact same side of the stencil to do the entire piece, which was nice because that way I didn't have to go either wash it or wipe it off with a paper towel. I kind of just used the materials that I had and kind of made sure that I filled in those white daisy cardstocks there. So cleaned off my all-purpose mat with my water and paper towel, but you can also use one of our chamois as well. So if you have a stamp chamois on hand, you can always wipe off the all-purpose mat with that. So as you saw right there, I am using our dovetail and just using my method. Mom has a different method, so if you have never seen our dovetail before, we definitely have a Technique Tuesday on that. And our scissors are great, and they're super sharp, so super easy to do that with. And as you see here, I am just making sure that I thin cut my sentiment here. With the actual kit, they wanted you to stamp the journey on honey butter cardstock. I preferred the white daisy cardstock, so I did cut my sentiment out of white daisy, not the honey butter, but if you like the honey butter, go ahead and use the honey butter. And my embellishments that I am using here are some of our olden wood embellishments. Like I said in a few of our last videos, I just don't have the brand new embellishments just yet, but they are adorable. So if you haven't gotten them yet, go get them. They're also not as thick as the old wood embellishments. They're now super thin, which is great. As you see here, I am actually using my slimline stencil. And like I said, I didn't want to wipe it off and then rotate it over. So what I did is I just kind of kept moving that down, which is great with these stencils. If you wanted to do like a 12 by 12 or something like that, you totally can, because all you have to do is keep moving your stencil down and just lining it up with the stripe that you had done before, or with the quadrants, you can do the same thing. And you can complete a whole entire 12 by 12 paper with these stencils. So this is the Quadrant stencil. We have now moved on to card number 2. And as you saw there, I did take a paper towel and I wiped off the stencil. That way, when I flipped it over, I didn't get the peach onto the papaya side. And now I'm using that second stencil in the Quadrant, and we are putting on the paprika, which is very, very dark, so that's why I wiped that off there, because then when we use this again, we are putting the peach on for a second time, and I didn't want to get the darker color onto the peach side. Usually I like to do the lighter color first, but I was following the pattern that they had on the actual directions, which said that peach should have gone first, so that's why I did it that way. And then, as you see here, we're using our 4-inch masking tape. I do talk about this, I will be in Technique Tuesday, so if you wanted to get the 4-inch masking tape, it is no longer available. It is retired. However, there is some still available on Close to My Heart's website, so you can go on and get some for yourself, but once it is gone, it is gone. So the 1-inch is still available in a 4-pack bundle or by itself, so feel free to get that. But we just cut this out in peach cardstock, and we stamped it in our papaya, and now we're putting this second card together. So with these cards, I did like to use our thin tape to pop up all the sentiments, just to give them a little pizzazz and stuff like that. And I used a wooden heart, and now this is card 2. I just love how that envelope looks. It just makes such a difference with these cards. So now we are on to our third card in this set. We are on to our 2 slimline cards. Each of these sets, you should be able to make 16 cards, so 4 of each card. And we are back to using the striped stencil with this one. So I have that peach, that peach ink, sorry, I am right, the peach ink out there, and we are just now using that. And now I've got some honey butter in here as well. To me, these colors super remind me of Easter. Don't know why, but they're super cute. So you can use this as an Easter card. You can use this as, a pump-up card. This is called You Go Girl, so a lot of our sentiments for this are all about congratulations or, cheering somebody on, something like that. So use them however you want, but you can also use these stencils to create your own cards throughout the year, which is awesome. This is just, some samples on how to use these with our stamps and thin cuts. So once again, for the envelopes, we are just following the pattern that we had on the card. And as you saw there, I had the exact same 4-inch masking tape that I had been using for the other 2 cards. So the masking tape is not a one and done deal. Really, it's only a one and done deal when you use it to stamp or ink up one of your actual stamps, because then you're going to get ink on it and you don't want to then put that obviously onto your other cardstock. So the only other time that you would really throw out your masking tape would be that point. But when you're just using it to do what we're doing here for the stenciling, you can use it over and over and over and over again, which is great. So now we are putting the rest of this card together. You saw that we dovetailed those 2 yellow images, and this is another stamping technique right here. So it is the 2-tone stamping where you're going to put the stamp into one of the ink pads first, then into the second, and voila, look, we have 2-tone, yay! So we love our stamping techniques. If you haven't seen other stamping techniques before, go check out our Stamping 101 playlist for Technique Tuesday. It's a great playlist, and hopefully maybe you'll learn a little bit more about our acrylic stamps. So that is card number 3, and we are on to card number 4. So our last card in this set, we have these beautiful colors. We've got some Harbour, Papaya, and just, it's really great how Close to My Heart uses so many different colors in their cards and things like that. If you didn't know or don't know how to match up the colors, you can always look at our not your Make It From Your Heart. It is part of that Make It From Your Heart series, but it is our Love and Color book. Those are our tutorial books, our idea books, things like that. And our Love of Color will actually help you match the Close to My Heart colors with other colors. So you'll have complementary colors, things like that. You'll have contrasting colors, and it just gives you a bunch of ideas on what to use for your projects. So like I said, we started with the Papaya. We are now using the Harbour, and we did one of the pieces of the cards, the envelope, and now I'm actually going to be monochromatic on the Harbour. So we are using the Harbour ink on the Harbour paper and making the awesome quadrants on there. So you can really see how much the ink picks up, and it does stick out on the Harbour paper there. So we are just now finishing up the other papers. I wanted to use the lighter colors first, so that's why I was going back and forth. This piece of paper or cardstock, you will see it used on the card. This is the envelope, and now I'm wiping all of that off so I can then use the Harbour ink on the actual Harbour piece that I have there too. So look how amazing that envelope looks. I love it. And then once we finish up this little Harbour piece, that is one of the card-based pieces. Another thing with the brushes too is when you're using the brushes, depending on the amount of pressure that you put onto the stencil will be the amount of ink that is actually going to go onto your cardstock. So if you saw on the White Daisy cardstock, I used a little bit of pressure for the Harbour and I got a lighter tone of the Harbour, which just made it super easy, and it gives it a different look when you do that. So now with that, I've talked about before, I don't like when there's a little bit of White Daisy showing on my card, so I just slimmed down my card just a little bit because my cardstock was a little too big, or small. But we're just gluing all of this card together. I found a few stars that I liked out of my old stuff, and voila, there is card number 4. So we hope that you enjoyed this Make It Monday segment. We have all 4 of our cards now with their envelopes done. And aren't they just absolutely adorable? You don't have to necessarily use these sentiments either. If you wanted to make these, you totally can, but you can also change up your sentiments and use them in a totally different way. So we hope that you got some ideas on how to use these stencils a little bit more, use different colors, see how you can do your colors either the same or different, or pastel versus dark, all that jazz. But we'll see you on the next Make It Mondays.